tastes like kimchi and chocolate. Delicious! Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ali. I'm an American living in Japan. I am a Christian. I am attempting to become a professional writer. And I say specifically a professional writer because I believe that if you enjoy writing and you're writing, then you are a writer. And so I already believe that I am a writer, but I am not a professional writer yet, considering the fact that I don't write and get paid for it. So I think that's kind of a thing about it. But anyways, so I'm attempting to become a professional writer, and that is my dream, that is my hope, that is what I'm putting out into the world and hoping that it actually becomes true. And I'm attempting to put some grit and some oomph behind my words and actually attempt to become what I want to be and become what I think that I'm supposed to be. So I'm excited about it. This is what this channel is about. This channel is about me kind of putting my feet down, taking out a step into the world, and figuring out all the stuff that comes with figuring out what it means to be a writer. So the main reason why I decided to do this channel was to kind of take a step forward with my writing. But starting from this month, I decided that I was going to take responsibility, take accountability, take, I don't know, take something into my own hands and attempt to write more. So I've always enjoyed writing and I've always been a writer, and I've always felt a very strong connection with being a writer and writing and doing all those types of things. But I also have a very interesting past with writing as well. So when I was a kid, I was what I would consider a very sick kid. I often didn't get a chance to go to school. I had lots of different headaches and different bodily ailments and failings and all that different kinds of stuff. So because of that, I wasn't able to go to school, wasn't able to kind of participate in what would be typically considered a normal teenager life. I don't know what that would even look like, and that's fine, and that is what it is. But during that time that I was so sick, one thing that I had was my writing. It was basically my lifeline. It was basically what kept me going. It's what kept me connected to the world. It's what kept me connected to my sanity, although not always. But throughout all of that, I just had a huge connection with words, with writing, with my books. Books from my friends. They were something that I could always rely on, and I always knew that they would take me to some place far away, and that they would take me to a place where I was so much different than I actually was, what my actual life was. And that was what was beautiful to me. I fell in love with writing, I fell in love with words, and fell in love with books through my experience of being sick and through my experience of not having a typical normal childhood. And I'm better now. I feel I'm so much healthier, but at the same time, throughout all of my life, throughout being a teenager and being sick and then being a young adult and growing up and getting better and now being an adult, I've had to kind of figure out what it means to not be sick but still be a writer. As a writer, when I was sick, I had a very strong, dark voice. As you can imagine, I was extremely depressed, and I was really just not attached to this world in a lot of different ways. And so because of that, my tone of voice was very dark, my tone of voice was very strong and kind of demented like, and I've moved away from that. Now that I'm healthy, I don't necessarily need that tone of voice, I don't necessarily need that darkness anymore. And becoming a Christian, I don't have that attachment with the darkness as I used to, and so I'm a lot more attached to the light. But at the same time, I'm interested in discussing darkness, and I'm interested in discussing health, and I'm interested in discussing mental health and the things that I've experienced and the things that I still experience with my own mental health. And so as I grew up and as I tried to figure out what it means to be healthy, what it means to be well, so I moved in from this really dark, creative, very free-flowing type of writing as a kid, as a teenager, into college, which was basically my eyes opening up to the world of order and structure and patterns and all of the different kinds of research that are available and things that you can dig your teeth into and study and write research papers and things like that. And I fell in love with that. And so my writing took a really less creative but more constructed, more formed style, which was fine. It worked well for college. I did well in college because of it, because I knew how to write a good paper, and I was able to do that. But also at the same time, because I was so focused on what was right in front of me, because of that structure, I lost my creative side very quickly, very easily almost. I hadn't reconnected with it after I'd gotten healthy. And so, because of that, immediately my writing just became research writing, became papers. And within that, I also got a lot of feedback, and I got a lot of positive feedback in that style of writing. So, now that I'm out of college, now that I'm on my own, now that I'm healthy, suddenly I've been thrown into this understanding that I don't know what kind of writer I am anymore, and that I haven't explored creative writing all that much anymore. That makes me really sad. And I've known from a very young age that ultimately what I want to do is creative writing. So while I like writing articles and I like writing papers and I like writing research articles and things like that, my brain just loves that kind of structure and order. At the same time, there's this little girl inside of me who just loves to create and build things and explore things and be extremely playful with the writing. And I think that that's probably the most my most natural self, you know? And not that the order and the structure isn't my natural self, but it's a side of me that is more constrained. It's actually easier for me to be really contained and managed than it is for me to be very free going nowadays. And so the style of writing that I want is more of the style of writing that I had as a kid, but without the trauma behind it, without the darkness, without the depression attached to it. When I decided that I wanted to start writing again, I had all of this baggage attached to writing. I had my sickness, I had trauma, I had darkness, I had depression, I had my college experience, which wasn't traumatic, but at the same time, it was so rigid that I didn't have a whole lot of freedom. I didn't give myself a whole lot of freedom to explore. And so I just had all of this different stuff attached to my writing that once I actually sat down and said, hey, let's write, I found that I couldn't write because I didn't know what kind of writer I was anymore. I didn't know what I was supposed to be writing, even. Because at the same time, I also had all of these different voices telling me what kind of writer I should be, whether they were positive voices or negative voices, or voices from the past, voices from the present, just all of these different voices telling me what I should be writing, what I shouldn't be writing. As a Christian, what I should be writing, what I shouldn't be writing. I couldn't find my own voice, and I couldn't be able to speak out loud what I needed to get out. And so I realized that there needed to be healing involved with my writing, that I needed to heal, that my writing needed to heal. I knew that if I wanted to be a writer, if I wanted to be a professional writer, I had to work through my baggage. Like, I had to work through the junk of my childhood, of everything that I brought to the table, of everything that I was dealing with, all of my anxiety that I still currently have, the depression that I still currently deal with, all of that different stuff was coming with me to my writing. And I needed to work through it so that I could be able to get to where I wanted to be in the future. For so long, I got stuck. I was stuck because there was just too much. There was too much baggage. There was too much to deal with. And because of that, I couldn't move. I couldn't move. I was stuck. And so at the beginning of this year, I decided that I was going to install a couple different new things into my life. And one of those things was that I needed a manageable goal, a manageable chunk of time where I can be free in my writing and just explore, to write without concern, to write without purpose, to write without a pre-made plan, to write without bullet points and a checklist and a idea in mind, without anything, just sit and write. So I decided to write for 1 hour, at least 1 hour, for 4 out of 5 days of the work week. And I have other responsibilities, I have other things on my plate, I have other jobs, but ultimately, I want to be a professional writer. And so, in order to in order to satisfy that main goal, that big goal, I decided to make these short-term, small, manageable, compact goals that could help me eventually get to be at the place that I want to be. But I also realized that while I was writing, I was also coming up against all of these different fears, these anxieties, these thoughts, these ideas, all of these things that maybe I couldn't say out loud, that I was afraid that if I said them out loud, that my friends or that the people around me would disagree with, or that they would think poorly of me, that they would think that I was doing something wrong. And I was scared, and like things that I'd be scared to say out loud. But at the same time, they existed inside of me. So the reason why I decided to make this channel was to kind of invite other people into my journey, invite people into my story, invite people into the mess that is my world, the chaos that is my world, the chaos that is my mind, essentially. What my main plan for this channel is to do vlogs after each one of my writing sessions, and in these vlogs really just air out my brain, what I'm thinking about before I'm writing, what I'm thinking about during my writing, and what I'm thinking about after my writing. Not so like specifically like that. I wanted to do it in a way that is extremely unedited, or very little editing. I wanted to do it in a way that was not planned, not something that I already figured out inside of my head. I knew exactly what I was gonna say and knew exactly how I was gonna say it, and so that'd be perfect, because that exists in me. So I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to create the space where I can talk freely about the issues that I'm experiencing with my writing, the thoughts that I have about my writing, some anxieties, some fears, some common things that I hear people saying about writing, common things that I hear people say about Christian writing, some things that are kind of unspoken about writing that I think needs to be talked about more. And I just want to lay it out all on the table with very little filtering and use it as an opportunity for me to continue my healing journey and speak things out loud and give things names. But at the same time, invite you into my journey so that if you're experiencing the same things or you have a thought or an idea that you want to air out, that this is a place that you can be able to do that. I wanted to make this space a place where I can heal and where potentially healing can be available for you guys as well. And I just wanted it to be a place of encouragement, a place of freedom, a place to be able to talk about the things that are really hard to talk about, and talk about the things that maybe you've only just kept inside of your brain, and that, you know, maybe you've been too afraid to air them out yourself. Maybe you've been too afraid to talk about them yourself or talk about them out loud. And I totally recognize that the ideas that come out of my mouth and the thoughts that come out of my mouth are, like I said, they're going to be very unfiltered. So they're not going to be complete thoughts. They're not going to be whole thoughts. And that irritates me, but at the same time, I think it's really important for me to do that. It irritates me because a lot of the times I get really annoyed when people don't carry a thought all the way from A to Z, where they, like, you know, tease out all of the different nuances and all of the different aspects of, you know, differences and all that kind of stuff. Like, usually that irritates me, but I'm going to walk into that irritation and be that, you know, person who irritates me by doing it, because I think it's important to learn how to drop thoughts and just let them be thoughts and just let them sit there and let them grow if they need to grow and be questioned if they need to be questioned. But at the same time, just let them be thoughts and let them be ideas and let them be a chance to inspire somebody. But at the same time, if it doesn't, then it's okay. So I kind of just wanted to challenge my perfectionism and challenge my constructed life-ism and be able to just explore speaking fluidly and explore speaking in a way that doesn't have fear. Like, one of the reasons why it's so difficult for me to either do a video or write is that there's a voice in the back of my head saying that if it's not perfect, then why even attempt to do it, you know? And that's just a lie. Like, let's just call it out like that. It's a lie. But it's a very strong voice inside of my head. And so in order to kind of combat that, in order to kind of challenge that, I want to kind of create this environment where I can speak openly and I can be able to give imperfect answers. And so I really hope that in that imperfection, we can give grace to one another and just carry on the conversation and be able to talk about it and be able to kind of explore our own imperfections and explore writing and life, man. Like, all of the things. Let's just talk about all of the things that we don't usually want to talk about. Also, I just think it's really important for me to say that everything that we talk about, everything that I talk about, comes from my own perspective, my own experiences, and my own background. We're all very different. We're all different kinds of writers. We're all different kinds of human beings. We're all different. We all come from different backgrounds and experiences. So my particular perspective and my particular experiences may not be of value to you and may not be particularly helpful for you, and that's totally okay. If there's something that resonates with you as well and in your own journey, then that makes me feel really good. Like I said, I am a Christian, so I might be talking a lot about things that other Christian writers may be experiencing, but in no way does that mean that I am not totally up for hearing from people and writers who are from different religions or non-religious, who have different kinds of experiences from me. I am so willing and wanting to hear different opinions and different aspects and different perspectives. I love that. I'd love for there to be a conversation involved. As much as this is my own brain and me just kind of airing things out, at the same time, I'd like it to be a conversation with you guys as well. So I hope that that's what this can be. There's going to be a lot of vlogs. There's going to be a lot of vlogs. It's mostly going to be like just me vlogging after each one on probably non-specific topics. Like I said, just as something pops into my head, then I will talk about it. But I also hope that eventually we can talk about books because books are awesome, and I love books, and I love learning more about books, and I love hearing what you guys are reading, and I love talking about what I'm reading. So I hope that I can do some more like just book introductions, or this is what I'm reading kind of material, and because I'd love to hear what you guys are reading as well and what kind of books you enjoy. I'm interested in meeting you guys and doing this stuff together. Excuse me. I have digestive issues, so I'm gonna burp a lot. Look forward to it. So, yes. So there's lots of different things that I'd like to explore on this channel. If you're interested in learning about me more, if you're interested in learning more about anything, if you have questions, in general, then feel free to write in the comment section. This is the comment section. I don't know what this is, but it's something. So my main philosophy, my main mantra that I have in my head right now is to stay playful with my writing. And that's what I extend out to all of you as well. Stay playful in your writing, stay playful in the things that you enjoy, stay playful in your creativity, stay playful in your life. There's so many reasons and there's so many things that like to just burden us and weigh us down. A lot of the times we create them ourselves. But in the midst of all of that, try to capture a little bit of playfulness and keep it on. It's hard, guys. It's hard, but it's something that I'm working on as well, and something that I'm excited to try to do a little bit more of. Even if it's imperfect, even if it's a mess, because life is a mess. See where the joy takes us. How about that? Anyways, I don't know you guys yet, but I love you. Jesus loves you. I'm excited to be able to journey with you in all of this. So I am looking forward to getting to know you guys more. All right? Peace out. Because I hadn't I had to come to grasp as a way of finding a manageable goal. What do I want to say? I don't know. Many things.